If you are a woman over 60, something is happening in your body right now that you cannot feel, cannot see, and your doctor has probably never explained to you. Your risk of breast cancer is not going down with age, it is going up. And the single biggest reason is not genetic. It is not bad luck. It is sitting on your dinner plate tonight. I am Dr. Hayes Anderson, and after 22 years in senior health, I have seen firsthand what happens to a woman's body when the postmenopausal years are spent eating the wrong foods without ever being told there was a connection. I have also seen what happens when a woman in her 60s or 70s finally learns the truth and changes what she eats. The difference between those two outcomes is not small. It is the difference between a diagnosis that rewrites the rest of her life and a body that quietly protects itself decade after decade. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which foods are silently raising your breast cancer risk after menopause, which foods your body is begging you to add to your plate, and the precise reason your postmenopausal biology has changed the rules on what counts as a safe diet. I am going to rank the dietary shifts from important to most critical, and I need to warn you about the third one now, because it is in almost every senior woman's kitchen, and almost nobody knows it belongs on this list. Here is the truth that rarely gets explained clearly enough. Before menopause, a woman's ovaries are the main factory for estrogen. After menopause, that factory closes. But estrogen does not disappear. It gets produced in a different place entirely, and that place is your fat tissue. Body fat in a postmenopausal woman is not just storage. It is an active hormone-producing organ. The more fat tissue you carry, especially around the midsection, the more estrogen your body quietly manufactures every day of your life. And the majority of breast cancers diagnosed after menopause, somewhere between 70 and 80%, are hormone receptor positive. They grow in response to estrogen. What your doctor has not had time to tell you is that the food you eat directly controls how much estrogen your body produces after menopause, how well your body clears the estrogen it no longer needs, and how much inflammation is surrounding your breast tissue while all of this is happening. The average oncology appointment is 15 minutes. There is no time to teach you about glycation, adipose tissue signaling, or the liver's role in estrogen metabolism. It is faster to hand you a mammogram order and send you home. But understanding these mechanisms is what separates the women who reduce their risk dramatically from the women who just hope for the best. Let me tell you about Elaine, 67 years old, a retired librarian from Oregon. She came to see me 2 years after her menopause ended, not because anything was wrong, but because her younger sister had just been diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer at the age of 63. Elaine was frightened in a way she had not been frightened before. She sat in my office and told me she had been doing everything right. She walked 3 mornings a week. She took a multivitamin. She ate what she called a normal diet: toast with butter in the morning, a sandwich at lunch, pasta or chicken with potatoes at night, a small dessert most evenings, because at 67, she said, what was the point of denying herself? I asked Elaine one question: how much of what you eat in an average day did not exist as food 100 years ago? She paused for a long time. Then she said, probably most of it. That was the beginning of everything that changed for her. And I am going to walk you through exactly what we did, because your plate tonight may look very similar to what Elaine's plate looked like. And the changes she made are changes you can start making before you go to bed. Now let me rank the dietary shifts that matter most for postmenopausal breast cancer risk, starting with the one most women have already heard about, and building up to the 2 that almost nobody talks about. 1. Alcohol. This is the one most women have heard whispered about, but nobody wants to discuss honestly. Alcohol, even in modest amounts, raises breast cancer risk in postmenopausal women in a way that is now very well documented. The mechanism is not mysterious. Alcohol raises circulating estrogen levels. It interferes with how the liver clears old estrogen out of the body. And it directly damages breast tissue DNA through a compound called acetaldehyde, which your body produces when it breaks alcohol down. Research published in major oncology journals has consistently shown that even one alcoholic drink per day raises postmenopausal breast cancer risk by a meaningful margin, and 3 or more drinks per day raises it substantially more. This is not about never drinking again. This is about understanding that the glass of wine every night with dinner, which feels harmless and civilized and part of a good life, is doing something specific inside your body that matters more after menopause than it ever did before. The fix is to treat alcohol the way you would treat dessert, something occasional, something for special moments, not something automatic. 2. Ultra-processed carbohydrates and added sugar. Let me tell you about Sheila, 71 years old, a retired elementary school teacher from Michigan, because her story changed my understanding of this years ago. Sheila came to see me after a routine mammogram led to a biopsy that showed atypical cells in her right breast. Not cancer yet, but the precursor. The kind of finding that tells a woman her body has started down a road and she now has a window to turn around. She was terrified. She had 2 daughters and 4 grandchildren and a husband of 46 years, and she sat in my office and said to me, "But doctor, I do not even eat sugar. I have not had a dessert in the house in years. I do not understand how this could be happening to me." I asked her to do one thing: write down everything she ate and drank for 3 days. Every meal, every snack, every beverage. Do not change anything, just record it. When she came back, she was quiet for a long time before she handed me the paper. Her breakfast was a bowl of Raisin Bran with skim milk and a small glass of orange juice. Her mid-morning was a cup of coffee with flavored creamer. Her lunch was a turkey sandwich on multigrain bread with low-fat mayonnaise. Her afternoon snack was a low-fat fruit yogurt. Her dinner was white pasta with jarred tomato sauce, a small salad with fat-free dressing, and a slice of sourdough bread with margarine. She had not eaten a single piece of chocolate, a single cookie, a single scoop of ice cream, and she had consumed over 90 grams of added sugar and refined carbohydrate in a single day. I showed her what that amount of sugar and refined starch does to a postmenopausal woman's body. The repeated insulin surges, the way insulin-like growth factor climbs with every spike, the chronic low-grade inflammation that quietly bathes breast tissue in irritation year after year. She looked at her paper and at me and she said, "I thought eating low fat was healthy. Nobody ever told me that low fat means high sugar. Nobody ever told me my breakfast was the problem." That sentence has stayed with me for years, and I think it is why most of the women sitting in my office look surprised when I explain this. Because the foods we have been told are healthy for decades are very often the foods doing the quiet damage. Here is what happens inside a postmenopausal woman's body when she eats that way. Blood sugar spikes repeatedly. The pancreas responds with insulin. Over years and decades, cells become resistant. Insulin levels stay chronically elevated. And elevated insulin does 2 things directly relevant to breast cancer. It raises a hormone called insulin-like growth factor, which can stimulate breast cell division. And it increases the amount of estrogen floating freely in your bloodstream, the active form that can reach breast tissue. This is called glycation, and essentially sugar is caramelizing proteins throughout your body, creating inflammation that never fully resolves. The foods driving this are almost never sweet tasting. jarred sauces, flavored yogurts, breakfast cereals, low-fat dressings, bread from the grocery store bakery, crackers, granola bars. These are the foods hiding the sugar, and these are the foods you can replace tonight. 3. Industrial seed oils. This is the one I warned you about at the start, and this is the one in almost every senior woman's kitchen. Soybean oil, corn oil, cottonseed oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil. They are in your mayonnaise, your salad dressing, your packaged baked goods, the oil used at nearly every restaurant you eat at, and the fried foods you think of as occasional treats. These oils did not exist in the human diet before about 1910. They are extracted industrially using heat and chemical solvents, and they are extraordinarily high in a type of fat called omega-6 linoleic acid. A small amount of omega-6 is necessary. The amount most postmenopausal women are consuming today is 10 to 20 times what the human body evolved to handle. And the consequence is chronic, smoldering inflammation throughout the body, including in the breast tissue. Laboratory research has shown that omega-6 dominant diets increase inflammatory signaling in mammary tissue and may promote the growth of hormone-sensitive cells. The ratio that matters is omega-6 to omega-3. In a healthy traditional diet, that ratio was close to 1 to 1, maybe as high as 4 to 1. In the average senior woman's diet today, it is closer to 20 to 1. Your body is not built for that load. And unlike sugar, which you can taste and track, seed oils are invisible. You do not feel them. You do not notice them. They sit quietly in foods that advertise themselves as healthy. I had a patient named Yvette, 69, who came to me convinced her diet was excellent. She ate salads for lunch most days. But when we looked at her salad dressing, the first ingredient was soybean oil. When we looked at her roasted almonds, they were roasted in sunflower oil. When we looked at the hummus she ate as a snack, the first oil was canola, not olive. Her kitchen was clean on the surface and flooded with industrial oils underneath. The fix is straightforward. Cook with olive oil, avocado oil, or butter. Read the label on your mayonnaise and salad dressing. If the first ingredient is soybean, canola, or sunflower oil, replace it with a version made from olive or avocado oil. This one change, done consistently, quietly lowers the inflammatory load on your breast tissue every single day. 4. Low fiber and missing cruciferous vegetables. This is the shift almost nobody talks about, and it may be the most powerful of all. After menopause, your body has to clear out the estrogen it is still producing from fat tissue. The pathway for that clearance runs through your liver and then out through your digestive tract. Fiber binds used estrogen in the gut so that it leaves your body. Without enough fiber, that used estrogen gets reabsorbed back into circulation, and your body ends up marinating in hormones it was trying to get rid of. And there is a specific family of vegetables that goes a step further. Cruciferous vegetables. Broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, kale, Brussels sprouts, bok choy, arugula. These contain compounds called indole 3-carbinol and sulforaphane, which directly support the liver's ability to break estrogen down into its safer, less stimulating forms. Research from the 1990s forward has consistently shown that women who eat cruciferous vegetables regularly have lower rates of hormone receptor-positive breast cancer than women who do not. This is not a supplement. This is a half a cup of steamed broccoli or a handful of cabbage slaw 5 or 6 times a week. Now stay with me because what comes next changes everything. The single most powerful dietary shift for postmenopausal breast cancer risk is not any one food. It is the underlying pattern of eating that all of these individual shifts point toward. 5. Shifting toward a whole food, plant-forward, Mediterranean-style pattern. This is what pulled Elaine's life in a completely different direction. And I want to come back to her now because her story is not finished. Elaine, the retired librarian I told you about earlier, did not overhaul her life in a day. She made small changes. She replaced her morning toast with a bowl of steel-cut oats with berries and walnuts. She replaced her sandwich bread with a salad of mixed greens, tuna, olive oil, and lemon. She replaced her evening pasta with a piece of baked salmon, a large portion of roasted vegetables, and a small baked sweet potato. She put a bowl of cabbage slaw dressed with olive oil on the counter and ate from it throughout the week. She traded her nightly glass of wine for sparkling water with lemon, except on Saturdays. She switched her mayonnaise to an avocado oil version. She stopped buying flavored yogurt and started buying plain Greek yogurt, adding her own fruit. 8 months later, she came back to my office. She had lost 12 pounds without counting a calorie. Her waist circumference, which matters enormously for postmenopausal breast cancer risk, had dropped almost 3 inches. Her fasting insulin had fallen into the ideal range. Her inflammation marker, C-reactive protein, had dropped from 3.2 down to 0.8. Her mammogram that year, which had shown areas of dense tissue for a decade, came back with a note from the radiologist that breast density had actually decreased, something that is unusual and meaningful. But what Elaine said to me at that appointment was this. She said, "I thought changing my diet would feel like losing things, and instead, for the first time in 20 years, I feel like my body is on my side again. I did not know I was supposed to feel this way." None of these dietary mistakes feel dangerous in the moment. That is exactly why they are so quietly dangerous over decades. The postmenopausal years are not a time when your diet matters less. They are the years when it matters most, because your body's hormonal landscape has shifted, and the rules of what protects you have shifted with it. I am not telling you this to frighten you. I am telling you this to prepare you. You have more control over your breast cancer risk than almost anyone has ever explained to you, and the control is sitting on your plate tonight. So let me make this practical. Before you go to bed, do 5 simple things. First, walk into your pantry and read the oil label on your mayonnaise, salad dressing, and cooking oil. If the first ingredient is soybean, corn, canola, sunflower, safflower, or cottonseed oil, put it aside and plan to replace it this week with an olive oil or avocado oil version. Second, open your refrigerator and check the sugar content on your yogurt, your sauces, and your salad dressings. Anything with more than 6 grams of added sugar per serving goes on the replacement list. Third, add 1 serving of a cruciferous vegetable to your plan for tomorrow. Steamed broccoli, a cup of cabbage slaw, roasted cauliflower, or a small side of sautéed kale. Aim for 5 servings across the week. Fourth, if you drink alcohol most nights, pick 3 nights this week to skip it entirely and replace the drink with sparkling water, herbal tea, or a small glass of tart cherry juice with soda water. Fifth, plan 1 meal tomorrow built around the Mediterranean pattern. A piece of fatty fish, a large portion of colorful vegetables, a small serving of beans, lentils, or whole grain, and olive oil as your fat. Make it the template, not the exception. And before you make any changes to hormone therapy, supplements, or prescribed medication, talk to your doctor. What you eat is something you have full authority over. The rest is a conversation to have with the person who knows your full medical history. Which of these 5 dietary shifts sounded most uncomfortably familiar to you? Was it the alcohol, the hidden sugar, the seed oils, the missing cruciferous vegetables, or the overall pattern? Leave a comment below with just the number, 1 through 5. I read every one, and your answer helps me understand what the women watching this channel are actually dealing with at home. And if this video helped you understand something new about your own body, Share it with someone you love, a sister, a daughter, a friend, a neighbor. Breast cancer after menopause is not a conversation most women are having clearly enough, and one video shared at the right moment can change the trajectory of someone's life. In the next video in this series, I am going deep into something that connects every single one of the dietary shifts I just described: chronic inflammation. It is the quiet force underneath breast cancer risk, heart disease, cognitive decline, and almost every chronic illness that accelerates after 60. I will show you exactly what it is, how to know if you have it, and the specific foods and habits that are proven to cool it down. Subscribe so you do not miss it. I will see you there.